The rain hammered the stained glass windows of St. Mary's Cathedral like 1,000 accusing fingers, but inside, the air was thicker, stifled sobs, and the sharp tang of hypocrisy hanging over the pews. Elias Hawthorne stood at the back, his black suit clinging damply to his skin, watching his father's polished mahogany casket gleam under the dim chandeliers as if it were just another boardroom trophy. He wasn't supposed to be here. The will had made that clear, carving him out like a tumor, but death had a way of dragging secrets back to the surface, and Elias had one that would bury the Hawthorne legacy deeper than 6 feet of Kentucky clay. Elias's fingers tightened around the folded letter in his pocket, the one his mother had slipped him before the service, her eyes pleading in a way they never had when she chose silence over him. The family patriarch, Reginald Hawthorne, oil baron turned philanthropist, lay there now, his empire of pipelines and political favors intact on paper, but Elias knew the ink was blood-red with lies. As the organ swelled into amazing grace, he stepped forward, ignoring the gasps from his aunts and the vice grip of his cousin's glare. This wasn't grief, this was reckoning. The cathedral in downtown Louisville buzzed with the elite, senators in tailored wool, oil executives nursing flasks under their hymnals, all whispering about the prodigal son who dared show his face. Elias had driven through the night from Chicago, the highway blurring into memories of slammed doors, and "You're no son of mine," echoing like thunder. Reginald had built Hawthorne energy on grit and God-fearing facades, but beneath it all festered the rot of denial. His own son's queerness, swept under the rug like a spilled secret. Elias's partner, Theo, had begged him to stay away. Let the vultures pick the bones, babe. But Elias couldn't. Not when the will's reading loomed like a guillotine, severing him from the fortune that had funded his exile. Reverend Ellis droned on about legacy and redemption, his voice a soothing baritone that masked the congregation's side eyes. Elias caught his sister Lila's gaze from the front row. She looked smaller somehow, her blonde bob framing a face etched with the same fractures he'd carried for years. They'd been close once, before puberty and pride parades widened the chasm. She mouthed, "Why?" and he almost turned back, but the letter burned hotter. It wasn't his words, it was his father's, scrawled in a shaky hand from the cancer ward. "Forgive me, Eli. The truth is yours to wield." As the pallbearers, Reginald's golf buddies, faces like weathered leather, hoisted the casket, Elias's resolve cracked. He slipped into the side aisle, heart pounding against his ribs like a trapped bird. The family procession filed out toward the limo caravan, black as midnight oil, but he veered toward the vestibule, where shadows pooled like spilled ink. There, amid the scent of melting wax and wilted lilies, he waited for the moment the mask would slip. The burial plot at Cave Hill Cemetery was a Hawthorne hallmark, a marble mausoleum flanked by magnolias, the air heavy with bourbon-scented rain. Umbrellas bloomed like funeral mushrooms as the dirt clods thudded onto the casket, each one a punctuation to Reginald's life. Elias lingered at the wrought iron gate, rain tracing cold paths down his collar, until Lila broke from the huddle and approached, her heels sinking into the mud. "You shouldn't be here," she hissed, voice low but laced with something softer. "Regret, maybe. Dad's will. It's final. The lawyers are circling like sharks." Elias pulled the letter free, holding it like a grenade. "This changes everything, Lil. Read it. Now." Her eyes flicked to the envelope, then back to his face, searching for the brother she'd lost to Chicago's glitter and grit. Lila had stayed, married the golden boy from church, popped out 2 kids who called Elias Uncle Eli in whispers. But loyalty had its price. She defended their father in every holiday call. "He's old school, Eli. Give him time." Time had run out. She snatched the paper, unfolding it under her umbrella. Her lips moved silently at first, then parted in a gasp that fogged the air. This can't be. Dad wrote this. Last week, before the morphine took hold." Elias's voice cracked, but he pressed on. "He confessed, Lil. About Mom. About us. The whole Hawthorne legacy is built on a fraud." Lila's face drained of color, the umbrella trembling in her grip. Around them, the mourners milled, Uncle Harlan barking orders to the groundskeeper, Cousin Beckett snapping photos for the society pages. But in that bubble of rain and revelation, the world narrowed to two siblings and a ghost's apology. Reginald's words spilled out in ink. Admissions of an affair that birthed Elias not from wedlock, but from a Louisville lounge singer's arms, a secret buried to preserve the family name. Worse, the oil fortune, kick-started by blackmail, Reginald's knowledge of a rival's indiscretions, leveraged into mergers that crushed small-town dreams. And Elias? The disowned son wasn't spite. It was protection, a clause to shield him from the vultures who devour the tainted empire. "Why tell you now?" Lila whispered, crumpling the edge. "After cutting you out? Because I'm the only one who never wanted it." Elias met her eyes, the rain blurring the line between tears and drops. "And because of Theo. Dad saw us together, one last time. Said it reminded him of what he lost with Mom." Theo, vibrant, unapologetic Theo with his locks and laugh that lit rooms, had been Elias's anchor through the coming-out storm. They'd met at a pride rally in Boys Town, two lost souls in a sea of rainbows, building a life from coffee shop gigs and late-night sonnets. Reginald's disdain had peaked there, the will of final slap. But this letter? It flipped the script, making Elias the heir not to money, but to truth. Lila handed back the paper, her shoulders slumping. "The reading's at the house tonight. If this gets out, it will." Elias's jaw set. "Unless we burn it. But that's not why I'm here." The limo doors slammed nearby, engines purring to life. Harlan spotted them, his bulldog face twisting. "Elias, get in or get gone. The family's got business." Lila shot him a look that could curdle milk. "Give us a minute, Uncle." As the caravan pulled away, Elias and Lila stood alone, the cemetery's silence amplifying the storm's growl. She touched his arm, tentative. "I missed you, Eli, even when I didn't say it." The drive to Hawthorne Manor wound through horse country, the estate a sprawling Tudor beast on the Ohio River's bend, all gables and ghosts. Elias rode shotgun in Lila's SUV, the letter between them like a live wire. "What do we do?" she asked, knuckles white on the wheel. "We go to the reading. I say my piece. Then, we rebuild. Without the lies." She nodded, but doubt shadowed her eyes. The manor loomed, its lights cutting through the dusk like accusatory beams. Inside, the great hall thrummed with low chatter, lawyers in pinstripes, kin nursing whiskeys. The portrait over the mantel stared down, Reginald in his prime, arm around a beaming wife, Elias a boy at their feet. All fiction. The attorney, Mr. Graves, irony not lost, cleared his throat, spectacles glinting. "To Lila Hawthorne Thompson, the bulk of Hawthorne Energy shares, with stipulations for charitable trusts." Murmurs rippled. Lila squeezed Elias's hand under the table. "To various cousins and staff, bequests as outlined." Then, the bomb. "To Elias Hawthorne, nothing. Per the codicil. For reasons of personal discord." Gasps, glares. Harlan snorted. About time the boys cut loose. Elias rose, voice steady as the river outside. "Actually, gentlemen, ladies, family, there's a reason. And it's not discord." He held up the letter, unfolding it for all to see. The room froze as he read aloud, Reginald's voice echoing through his son's. "The affair, the blackmail, the forged lineage. This legacy you cling to? It's ash, built on my mother's silence and my father's sins." Chaos erupted. Harlan lunging for the paper, Lila shouting him down, Aunt's clutching pearls. Beckett filmed it all, his phone a ticking bomb for tomorrow's headlines. Elias stood amid the storm, heart hammering, but for the first time, unbowed. Theo's text buzzed in his pocket. "Alive? Love you." Simple words, a lifeline. As Graves called for order, Elias realized the real inheritance wasn't gold. It was freedom, hard-won, to love without chains. But the night was young, and secrets had a way of multiplying. Harlan cornered him in the study later, breath sour with scotch. "You think this changes anything, boy? That letter's a forgery. I'll bury you with it." Elias met his uncle's snarl with steel. "Try it. I've got copies. And witnesses." Harlan's laugh was a bark. "Witnesses? Your little boyfriend? The family's got lawyers that eat queers for breakfast." The slur landed like a slap, but Elias didn't flinch. "Theo's more man than you'll ever be. And this isn't about me, it's about Mom. The woman Dad erased to play king." Harlan's face purpled, veins bulging. "Your mother was trash. A singer in a dive. Reg knew better. Better. Elias stepped closer, voice low thunder. He loved her. That's what the letter says. And he regretted every day he chose power over her. The older man faltered, then shoved past, muttering curses. Elias sank into Reginald's leather chair, to study a tomb of dusty ledgers and faded photos. One caught his eye, a young Reg with a dark-haired woman, laughing in some forgotten speakeasy. His mother, alive in grainy black and white. Lila found him there, 2 glasses of bourbon in hand. Truce. She offered one, settling on the desk's edge. Always. They clinked, the burn chasing the chill. What now? The empire's crumbling. She sipped, thoughtful. Sell it. Donate. Start clean. For the kids, for all of us. Elias nodded, but his mind raced to Theo, waiting in their cramped Wrigleyville apartment, probably pacing with worry. I need to go home. To him. Lila's smile was bittersweet. Bring him next time. The family's due for some color. Dawn broke gray over the river as Elias packed his rental car, the manor receding in the rear view like a bad dream. But at the gate, a figure waited. Beckett, trench coat flapping, tablet in hand. "Cuz," he said, no smirk this time. "That video? It's gold. But I held off posting. For you." Elias paused, engine idling. "Why?" "Because I remember Uncle Reg before the suits. And you, kid who taught me to fish. We're hawthorns, for better or worse." The olive branch hung there, fragile. Elias took it. "Delete it. And come visit. Theo makes killer gumbo." Beckett grinned. "Deal." The highway stretched north, Louisville's spires fading. Elias called Theo, voice thick. "I'm coming home. And babe? Pack for Kentucky. We've got a legacy to torch." Theo's laugh warmed the line. "Only if there's dancing. Love you, Eli. Love you more." But as mile markers ticked by, Elias's phone lit with Lila's text. "Harlan's lawyering up. Watch your back." The storm wasn't over. It was just beginning. Elias gripped the wheel tighter, the Ohio River's muddy churn mirroring the turmoil in his gut. Harlan's threat lingered like exhaust fumes, but Theo's voice had been the antidote, steady, teasing, pulling him back from the edge. Their life in Chicago was a far cry from Hawthorne opulence, a third-floor walk-up with creaky floors and a view of the L train rattling by. But it was theirs, built on late shifts at Theo's graphic design firm and Elias's freelance editing gigs. No mansions, no oil slicks, just them, tangled in sheets and dreams. He pulled into O'Hare traffic just as rush hour snarled, horns blaring like impatient judgments. The letter rode shotgun now, a talisman or curse, he couldn't decide. Reginald's confession wasn't just personal, it implicated the whole clan. The affair meant Elias wasn't the legitimate heir, but the blackmail that could unravel deals dating back decades, exposing Hawthorne Energy to lawsuits from displaced workers, environmental groups, even the feds. Destroying the legacy wasn't hyperbole, it was demolition. Theo met him at the door, locks tied back, apron dusted with flour from whatever carb-laden comfort he'd whipped up. Hero returns. He pulled Elias into a hug that smelled of garlic and home, but his eyes scanned for cracks. Rough. Apocalyptic. Elias sagged against the doorframe, then spilled it all. The funeral downpour, the will's blade, the letter's bomb. Theo listened, arms crossed, that quiet intensity that had hooked Elias from day one. When he finished, Theo whistled low. "Damn, Eli, your old man's parting gift is a wrecking ball." Elias laughed, brittle. "Yeah, and Harlan wants to swing it back at me." Theo's jaw tightened, protective, always. Born in Atlanta to activist parents, he'd navigated his own battles, coming out in high school Bible study, marching for Black Lives Matter while dodging slurs. Let him try. We've got truth on our side. And me, I'm mean with a keyboard. They ate on the fire escape, city lights twinkling below, pasta twirling on forks between kisses. "What if I don't want to fight?" Elias murmured, head on Theo's shoulder. "Just live." Theo tilted his chin up. "Then we do. But running? That's Harlan's game. You're better." Sleep came fitful, dreams of caskets cracking open to spew oil-black secrets. Morning brought coffee and a knock. Lila, unannounced, rolling suitcase in tow. "Sis." Elias blinked at the threshold. "Crashing your love nest." She breezed in, hugging Theo like a long-lost co-conspirator. Harlan's turning the manor into Fort Knox. Lawyers, NDAs, the works. I need distance and backup. Theo grinned, pouring her a mug. Mi casa es su casa. Pancakes. Over breakfast, plans coalesced. Lila, with her MBA and board seat, would audit the books quietly, hunting for the blackmail paper trail. Elias would digitize the letter, copies to trusted allies, a journalist friend from his undergrad days at Northwestern, a queer rights attorney who'd handled his custody scare years back. Theo? Digital fortress, encrypted drives, social media smokescreens. But cracks showed fast. Lila's phone buzzed incessantly, Harlan's voicemails escalating from bluster to please. He's scared, she admitted, scrolling. Says it'll ruin the kid's future. Elias paced the tiny kitchen. His future, built on Dad's lies. Remember Cousin May? Lost her farm to one of those mergers? Lila winced. I do. God, Eli, what have we become? Survivors. Theo slid plates across. Now eat. Revolution waits for no stomach. The week blurred into strategy sessions amid normalcy. Theo's client pitch in the living room. Elias dodging edits for a romance novel that felt trivial next to his own drama. Lila charmed the neighbors, her southern lilt disarming the Polish lady downstairs who baked pierogies in solidarity. But tension simmered. Nights when Elias woke sweating from visions of Reginald's ghost, demanding silence. Then, the twist. A package arrived, no return address. Inside, a faded photo album, bound in cracked leather. Lila gasped. Mom's. Pages yellowed with time. Reginald young and wild-eyed. Arm around a woman with Elias's cheekbones. Vivian, the lounge singer. Smiling in jazz clubs, picnics by the river. Then, the shift. Wedding shots with Elias's mother, the socialite facade. A note tucked in the back. Vivian's script. For my boy. Sing your truth, Eli. Love always. Tears blurred the ink. How? Elias whispered. Lila traced a photo. Dad must have kept it. Sent it before. You know. Theo squeezed his shoulder. She's got your fire. Emboldened, they dug deeper. Lila's audits uncovered ledgers. Off-books payments to a PI who'd tailed Vivian, ensuring her silence. Blackmail begets blackmail. This ties to the rival, she said, laptop glowing. Senator Klein's daddy. The merger that started it all. Elias's journalist pal, Mia, bit hard. This is Pulitzer bait. But dangerous. Klein's still in D.C., pulling strings. Publish? Theo asked. Not yet. Elias's gut twisted. We confront first. Harlan. Make him fold. Lila shook her head. He's family. So am I. The words hung heavy. Chicago's autumn crispness turned biting as they plotted the return. Theo insisted on coming. Backup singer for your showdown. Elias relented, packing the album like armor. The flight south was tense, turbulence mirroring moods. At the airport, Harlan waited, not with goons, but a driver and a stiff nod. Truce talk. Neutral ground. The diner off I-65 was a relic. Checkered floors, jukebox crooning Patsy Cline. Harlan slid into the booth, face haggard, no bulldog bluster. Nephew. Uncle. Elias sat, Theo and Lila flanking like sentinels. Harlan slid a folder across. Test results. DNA. Your regs, blood, don't lie. Elias flipped it open, numbers confirming what the letter implied. Legitimate, despite the affair's shadow. Then why the codicil? Pride. Harlan sighed, ordering coffee black. Your lifestyle. Thought it'd toughen you. Make you fight for the name. Theo's laugh was sharp. By erasing him. Real tough love. Harlan flushed. Times were different. Church, community. Excuses. Lila leaned in. The blackmail ends now. We expose, restructure. Clean. Harlan's eyes darted. Klein's involved. Still, he'd bury us. Elias tapped the album. Or we bury him. With truth. The diner hummed around them, oblivious. Harlan studied the photos, something cracking in his gaze. Vivian. She was light. Reg dimmed for the deal. A beat. Then, what if I help? For her memory. Alliance fragile as spun glass. Back at the manor, they pored over files by firelight, Harlan grumbling but yielding keys to safes. Secrets spilled, Klein's indiscretions weren't just old. They linked to current lobbying, dirty money, and green energy facades. But trust fractured overnight. Lila woke to her office ransacked, laptop gone. Harlan, or Klein? Elias's fists clenched. We need proof. Theo, ever the tech wizard, traced the IP Manor server. Betrayal stung fresh. Confrontation in the library. Harlan denying, then crumbling. He called. Threatened the grandkids. Lila's slap echoed. Choose, uncle. Us or him. Harlan chose wrong. Slammed the door, sped off into the night. Dawn brought sirens. Crash on the river road. Whiskey bottle in the wreck. Harlan gone. Grief layered on grief. The funeral was small, rain again, but this time, unity. Elias eulogized. Family isn't blood or boardrooms. It's the truths we face together. After, in the study, Harlan's safe yielded the smoking gun. Tapes, docs, Klein's signature on forged permits. Mia's story broke national. Hawthorne Air exposes oil empire's rot. Fallout swift, stocks plunged, investigations launched. Lila stepped up as interim CEO, vowing green pivots. Elias? He walked away, the will irrelevant now. But Klein's retaliation loomed. A subpoena, whispers of perjury around the letter. Theo pulled him close that night. We've got this. You and me. Elias nodded, but fear not. The legacy destroyed, but at what cost to their love? Klein's subpoena arrived like a serpent in the mail, coiled paper with legalese fangs, demanding Elias's presence in a DC deposition. Obstruction of justice. The header sneered, pinning the letter as fabricated evidence. Theo read it aloud over takeout lo mein, his voice steady but eyes stormy. They're painting you as the villain, babe. The scorned son spinning tales. Elias pushed noodles around his plate. Appetite fled. It's Klein's playbook. Smear the messenger. But the tapes, those are ironclad. Lila called from Louisville, voice wire taut. Feds are crawling the manor. Harlan's crash? They think sabotage. Your name's on the list. The web tightened. Elias's freelance dried up. Clients ghosting. Emails unanswered. Whispers in queer circles too. Hawthorne. That disowned drama queen. Old wounds reopened. The coming-out scars Reginald had salted now festering under public glare. Theo rallied, turning their apartment into war room. We fight smart. Mia's got sources. Let's leak the tapes strategically. His fingers flew over keys, watermarking files, timing drops to activist networks. But privately, doubt crept. Eli, if this blows back. On us. Elias pulled him onto the couch, tracing the scar on Theo's knuckle from a protest gone wrong. Then we run. To Atlanta, your folks. Or Vancouver, fresh start. Theo's smile was fierce. Nah, we stand. For Vivian. For every queer kid disowned in a Bible Belt basement. The deposition loomed mid-November, DC's cherry trees bare skeletons against a slate sky. Elias flew solo, Theo buried in deadlines, Lila testifying separately. The hearing room in the Dirksen building was sterile chill, wood paneling absorbing sound like lies. Klein's attorney, a silver fox with shark eyes, led the charge. Mr. Hawthorne, this letter, conveniently undated, witnessed by none. A ploy for inheritance, yes? Elias met his gaze, Reginald's album tucked in his briefcase like a talisman. No, it's my father's dying wish. And the tapes? From Harlan's safe. Your client's voice, clear as conscience. The lawyer smirked. Alleged tapes. Circumstantial. But then Mia's bombshell hit. Front page in the Post. Audio snippets. Klein's drawl admitting favors for pipelines over wetlands. The room shifted. The judge adjourned, murmuring of further review. Outside, protesters gathered. Queer activists, environmentalists, a rainbow coalition chanting truth over tycoons. Elias slipped through, heart swelling. A sign caught his eye. For the disowned, the displaced, love wins. Theo's doing, no doubt. Back in Chicago, celebration turned cautionary. Theo wrapped him in a bear hug at the gate. My gladiator. But over wine, reality bit. Klein's not done. Private eye tailing me today, subtle, but there. Elias's blood iced. We need eyes. Enter Beckett, cousin turned confidant, arriving with pizza and a drone. Perks of society pages. This baby's got night vision. Awkward at first. Beckett's straight-laced vibe clashing with Theo's flair, but stories bridged, childhood escapades, shared grief. Harlan was a dick, but family, Beckett admitted. This? Redemption arc. The tale led to a Louisville PI firm, Klein's payroll ghost. Armed with footage, they fed it to Mia, who twisted the knife. Senator's dirty secrets, from affairs to eco-crimes. Fallout cascaded. Klein resigned in disgrace, his district erupting in recalls. Hawthorne energy teetered, but Lila's pivot, solar farms on old drill sites, stabilized it. Green legacy, she texted with a winky emoji. Your idea, bro? But personal storms brewed. Elias's dreams darkened, Vivian appearing, not singing, but silent, judging. Therapy sessions via Zoom unpacked it. The psychologist, a soft-spoken dyke from Evanston, probing. What does she represent? The love denied. Home, Elias confessed. The part of me Dad couldn't love. Theo attended one, holding his hand through the screen lag. We're your home now. Holiday season crept in, Chicago's magnificent mile aglow with lights that mocked their shadows. Lila invited them south, family dinner, Hawthorne style. No drama. But en route, the blow, a call from the attorney. The will, contested, named Elias silent beneficiary, Reginald's codicil of fate, protecting assets from creditors. You're the heir, Mr. Hawthorne. All of it. Stunned silence on the interstate. Theo hooped first. Billionaire boo. Private jet to Paris. Elias laughed, but it hollowed. It's tainted. I don't want it. Lila met them at the manor, now half dismantled, auction tags on chandeliers. Dinner was intimate. Turkey, Theo's cornbread, stories of Vivian's jazz nights. But post-meal, Harlan's widow arrived. Unexpected, eyes red-rimmed. He left this. A key to a riverfront cabin. Inside, dust motes danced in beams. Reginald's hideaway, walls papered with Vivian's letters, photos untarnished. Our secret, the note read. For Eli, to know joy like hers. Tears came, collective. Aunt May joined, the displaced farmer, hugging Elias. You gave us voice. But joy fractured New Year's Eve. A fire, arson, feds ruled, gutted the cabin, letters ash. Klein's parting shot? No proof, but suspicion burned. Theo pulled Elias from the rubble, soot-streaked. We rebuild. Always. Spring thawed the ice, but not the rift. Elias donated the fortune, trust for queer youth, eco-restorations, Vivian scholarships for artists. Clean slate, he told the press, Theo at his side, hand intertwined defiantly. Yet, a letter arrived. Anonymous, postmarked D.C. You won the war, but love loses in silence. Attached, photos of Theo, alone, shadowed figures closing in. Panic surged. Threat. Theo paled. Protection. Elias hired security, Beckett coordinating. Nights blurred into vigilance, intimacy strained. I can't lose you. Elias whispered one dawn, bodies entwined but minds miles apart. Theo cupped his face. Then talk. Not just fight. The breakthrough came in therapy. Elias voicing the fear, not of loss, but unworthiness. Dad's love was conditional. What if mine is too? Theo's response, a weekend getaway, Door County cabins, Lake Michigan's whisper. No phones, just walks, words. Your love's my anchor, Eli. Queerer, messier, realer than any legacy. Reconnected, they returned fortified. The stalker? A disgruntled ex-employee, Klein Pawn, arrested quietly. Mia's follow-up. Hawthorne Air's quiet victory, from disownment to donor. Summer bloomed, Lila's wedding redo. Vows renewed lakeside, Elias best man, Theo ring bearer with flair. Toasts rang. To truths that bind, not break. But autumn whispered one last twist. A pregnancy test, Lila's surprise miracle. Auntie Eli, she teased. Uncle, he corrected, grinning. Theo's hand on his belly, playful. Someday. Elias's heart stuttered. Yeah, someday. The legacy? Dust. Theirs. Eternal. No, the call shattered illusions. Vivian alive? A nurse's voice. Your mother's in a home. Reg kept contact. Secret. World tilted. Elias booked the flight, Theo beside. Whatever she is, she's yours. The nursing home in Paducah smelled of antiseptic and regret. Vivian, frail but eyes sharp, Elias's eyes, smiled. My boy. Hugs, stories, Jazz hummed from a radio. I chose silence for you, she confessed. To shield your light. Tears, forgiveness. You did. Back home, the family gathered, not in Manor, but a Louisville park, picnic under oaks. Cousins, aunts, even Klein's fallout victims mingling. Toasts to new beginnings. Elias raised his glass, Theo's arm around him. To legacies rewritten. Vivian's voice, raspy from years of unsung melodies, filled the small parlor of the nursing home like smoke from a forgotten cigarette. Reginald was a storm. Eli swept me up, then drowned me out. She patted his hand, veins mapping a life of what-ifs, her silver hair catching the afternoon sun slanting through lace curtains. Theo sat quiet, a respectful shadow, sketching idly in his notebook, portraits of this woman who'd birthed fire in Elias's soul. The visit stretched hours, confessions unspooling like loose thread. Vivian hadn't vanished post-affair. Reginald had housed her discreetly, a stipend for silence, visits under moonless skies. For you, she said. So you'd have his name, his world. I couldn't rob you of that. Elias's throat tightened. But he robbed me of you. She nodded, tears carving paths. My regret. But look at you, strong, loved. Her gaze flicked to Theo, approving. This one's a keeper. Artist. Designer. Activist. Theo smiled, closing the sketch, her profile alive. And stubborn. Laughter bubbled, fragile but real. They left with promises, weekly calls, a weekend escape to the home. Driving back to Louisville, Elias's mind whirled. She's alive. All this time. Theo squeezed his thigh. And kicking. Jazz hands and all. Lila's reaction at the manor, joy laced with fury. Dad's puppet master to the end. But she softened, planning visits. Families growing. Literally. Her hand on the subtle bump, the baby a beacon. Words spread cautiously. Mia vetted a gentle profile, the singer's secret, a mother's melody in the Hawthorne saga. Public appetite sated, but private ripples grew. Harlan's widow, bitter, leaked to tabloids. Vivian's a gold-digger ghost. Slurs followed, old prejudices revived. Elias the bastard, Theo the sidekick. Online trolls swarmed, X-threads dissecting their life like lab specimens. Disowned for a reason, freak show family. Elias scrolled numbly one night, Theo prying the phone away. Their noise, not our truth. But it gnawed, echoing Reginald's disdain. Elias withdrew, edits piling, smiles strained. Theo confronted over breakfast. Talk, Eli. Or this wins. Words tumbled. Fear of Vivian's fragility. The baby's innocence in chaos. His own scars flaring. What if I'm the storm now? Drowning us. Theo's eyes softened. Then we swim. Together. Therapy doubled down. The Dyke Doc challenging. Rewrite the narrative. You're not Reg, you're you. Action followed. Elias organized a queer family summit in Chicago. LGBT kin from across the spectrum, sharing disownment tales over potlucks. Vivian zoomed in, her stories a hit. Hiding hurt, but loving healed. Lila's pregnancy progressed, ultrasounds shared like treasures. But complications arose, bed rest, worry etching her face. Elias flew south weekly, Theo juggling remote. Uncle duty calls, he'd quip, packing her favorite teas. One visit, Vivian pulled him aside. Sing with me, boy. A lullaby, off-key but pure, her voice cracking, his joining. Healing in harmony. Fall deepened, leaves carpeting Louisville like confetti. The baby shower, rainbow-themed, Theo's balloons bobbing. Aunts thawed, even May toasting Vivian. To voices raised. But shadow loomed. Klein's appeal, a last gasp from prison. Slander suit against the Hawthorns. Subpoenas anew, dragging Vivian in. Character assassination. The lawyer sneered in prep. Elias's rage boiled. She's 80. Leave her. Courtroom in Frankfurt was a circus, reporters, protesters. Vivian testified, frail on the stand, but steel in her spine. I loved Reg chose Eli's future over mine. That's no crime. Klein's hack crumbled under cross, tapes replayed, his voice damning. Verdict, dismissed, with sanctions. Cheers erupted outside, Elias hugging Vivian tight. You slayed. She winked. Mama's jazz. Winter blanketed joy, the baby, A girl named Vivian Lila Thompson arrived snow-silent, pink and perfect. Elias held her first after Lila, tiny fist gripping his finger. Hey, niece. Uncle's got stories. Theo snapped photos, misty-eyed. Family. Back in Chicago, normalcy beckoned, but a call from Beckett. Manor sale closing. Buyers. Eco Collective. Want you to cut the ribbon. Symbolic. Torching the old for new. The ceremony spring, fields greening. Elias spoke. From oil to opportunity, legacies evolve. Crowd applauded, but post-event, Vivian pulled him to the riverbank. I'm fading, Eli. Lungs giving out. World stilled. No. Shoo. She pressed a necklace into his palm, jazz note pendant. Wear it. Sing on. Theo supported through grief's prelude. Nights of stories, her favorites. Vivian passed midsummer, peaceful, jazz on the radio. Funeral, Louisville Cathedral, this time sunlit. Eulogy by Elias. She taught me love's the truest tune. Mourners diverse, queers, kin, activists. Lila, baby on hip. She mended us. Grief wove in, but life pulsed. Theo's firm boomed, queer campaigns lighting billboards. Elias's book deal, memoir, Echoes of Ash, A Son's Requiem. Writing cathartic, Theo beta reading, raw babe. Real. Twist in autumn, anonymous donor to Vivian scholarships, Harlan's insurance, funneled quietly. Redemption's echo. Thanksgiving, expanded table, Lila's family, Beckett's date, a trans barista, sparks flying, maize brewed. Toasts to ghosts and growth. But New Year's, Elias proposed, not ring, but vow. Build forever? With you. Theo's yes, tears and tackles. Wedding plans bloomed, small, lakeside, rainbows promised. Legacy? Not destroyed, remade. In love's unyielding light. No, final curve. A letter, Vivian's last, one more secret. Reg's twin, your uncle, hidden. Shame drove him away. Find him. Heal the root. Shock rippled. Elias traced leads. A painter in New Mexico, estranged. Road trip beckoned, Theo shotgun. Family quest. The studio in Santa Fe, dust and canvases, a man with Reg's eyes, gray-bearded. Elias. Hug tentative, then tight. Brother's boy. Stories flowed. Twins' shame over his own queerness. Reg's cover-up. He chose empire over me. Forgiveness brewed slow, over green chili. Join us, Elias urged. Rewrite. He did. Visits. Art for the memoir cover. Fractured oiled derrick blooming rainbow vines. Full circle. Hawthorne reunion, New Mexico style. Adobe warmth, Vivian toddling. Toasts, to roots reclaimed. Elias, Theo's hand in his, whispered. Our legacy, endless. The Santa Fe sun baked the adobe walls of Uncle Miles's studio, turning the air to liquid gold as Elias and Theo hauled in coolers for the impromptu family summit. Vivian squealed from Lila's arms, chasing dust motes like fireflies, while Beckett wrestled a piñata into shape, his trans date, Jordan, directing with a laugh that cut through the heat. Miles, Reginald's twin, moved like a gentler echo of the man Elias had buried twice over. Paint-splattered overalls, eyes crinkling with stories long suppressed. You look like him, Elias said, handing Miles a beer, the canyon's red rock framing them like a painting. Miles chuckled, low and rueful. The curse of twins. But I got the colors, he got the crude. His gaze softened on Theo, sketching the chaos. And you, artist too? Theo grinned, locks catching light. Amateur. But Eli hears the poet. Settling on mismatched cushions, the afternoon unspooled Vivian's final gift, Miles's tale. Born minutes after Reg, he'd hidden his love for men in the 60s shadows, beatings from their father, a steelworker who preached fire and brimstone. Reg covered for me once, took the blame for a bar fight, then built his wall higher. Exile followed a scandal, whispers of unnatural chasing him west. He wrote, you know, apologies in oil invoices. Never face to face. Elias absorbed it, the hawthorn not loosening another turn. He left you nothing. Freedom. Miles shrugged. Painted my truths. You. Theo squeezed Elias's knee. We're painting ours. The summit stretched days, hikes in Bandelier, where ancient dwellings mirrored buried pasts. Nights around a fire pit, Vivian dozing to Miles's guitar strums of old folk tunes. Lila bonded over boardroom battle scars. Jordan sharing transition triumphs that humbled the room. Families chosen. Jordan said, arm around Beckett. But blood? It calls back. One evening, as stars pricked the velvet sky, Elias and Miles walked the SAYMA trails, water whispering secrets. Why hide so long? Elias asked. Fear. Miles paused, tracing a petroglyph. Reg's world was conquest. Mine, quiet rebellion. You're coming out? Lit a fire I thought dead. Elias's chest ached. Dad never said. He watched. From afar. Proud, in his way. Back in Chicago, the glow lingered, but reality nipped. Elias's memoir proofs arrived, edits bleeding red like old wounds. Too raw, he fretted to Theo, pacing their now expanded apartment. Extra room for Vivian's visits, walls splashed with Miles's gifts. Theo scanned a page, honest. Ross the point. Hits the gut. Launch party loomed. Andersonville bookstore, queer-lit haven. Nerves jangled. Crowd of activists. Kin, strangers hungry for scandal. But Vivian's necklace thrummed against his chest as he read the hook. Rain on stained glass. And a father's ghost demanding I choose. Silence or shatter. Applause thundered, signings stretched late. Lila arrived post-reading, baby in tow. Bestseller vibes, bro. Miles FaceTimed from Santa Fe, toasting virtually. Reviews poured. A queer odyssey through corporate crypts, Hawthorne bears soul. But backlash too, conservative outlets decrying agenda fiction. Harlan's widow sued for defamation, claiming exaggerated villainy. Court again, this time civil in Louisville. Elias testified, calm. Not villain, victim of the same lies. Evidence mounted, her own emails to Klein, colluding. Case tossed, her face crumpling in the gallery. Victory tasted bittersweet. Theo pulled him aside post-hearing. You're carrying ghosts, Eli. Let the book bury them. Therapy echoed. Closure's a myth. Integration's the art. Summer festivals called. Pride in Chicago. Theo's float design a hit. Rainbow pipelines blooming flowers. Elias marched, Miles visiting, arm-linked. Reg would have hated this. Or envied it. Elias laughed. Lila's expansion. Hawthorne Green, solar co-ops in Appalachia, jobs for displaced miners. Your blueprint, she credited. But personal pivot, fertility consults. Elias and Theo, post-proposal, exploring paths, adoption, surrogacy. Our kid, Theo mused over diner fries. Queer as hell, artist stubborn. Elias's yes, tentative. Yeah. Fall brought harvest. Memoir climbs charts, scholarships flourish. Vivian's home renamed in her honor, Jazz Nights funding care. Twist in November, DNA deep dive, Mia's gift, matches linking Miles to more kin. A half-sister in Seattle, lesbian rancher. Hawthorne web widens. Reunion in the Cascades. Horses, hikes, stories stacking like cordwood. Sister Ray. Reg reached out once. Wanted buyout silence. Pattern Elias sighed. Break it. Ray's grip firm. Holiday circuit. Chicago to Louisville to Santa Fe, tables groaning, laughter healing. Vivian's first words, Unca tea, melting Theo. New Year, Elias and Theo's ceremony. Lake Michigan shore, dawn light gilding vows. In storms and silences, I choose you. Rings exchanged, simple silver with jazz engravings. Honeymoon, New Orleans, Vivian's jazz roots. Street music, beignet, slow dances in Preservation Hall. Our rhythm, Theo murmured. Back, life accelerated. Theo's exhibit, legacy lines, abstracts from Hawthorne debris. Sold out, critics raving. Elias's sequel bruise, remade roots. But shadow, health scare, Lila's checkup flags anomaly. Nothing, docs say, but fear festers. Elias flies south, Theo in tow. Tests clear, relief floods. Scares gift, Lila says. Prioritize joy. They do, family campout, tents under stars, Vivian roasting marshmallows. One night, fire crackling, Miles strums, voice gravel. Twins in shadow, suns in light. Elias leans into Theo. Ours forever. Legacy? Not destroyed. Evolved. in every heartbeat. No, ultimate revelation. Reginald's journal, found in Manor's attic during Reno. Entries chronicling love for Vivian, regret for Miles, pride in Elias's resilience. My boy fights with heart I lacked. Read aloud, tears collective. He saw us, Elias whispered. Theo's arm tight. And loved an end. Full bloom. Hawthorne Foundation Gala, funds for queer elders. Elias keynotes. From cut to core, we rise. Crowd roars, kin beaming. Dance floor, couples twirling, Lila and spouse, Beckett and Jordan, Miles with Ray. Elias and Theo sway last, world fading. Destroyed? Nah, transformed. The gala's chandeliers cast prisms across the renovated Hawthorne Manor Great Hall, now a beacon of glass walls and green murals. Oil ghosts exorcised, replaced by solar schematics and Vivian's jazz notes etched in mosaic. Elias adjusted his cufflinks, nerves a low hum as he scanned the crowd. Donors in tuxes, activists in pins, family clustered like stars. Theo, dashing in velvet blazer, squeezed his elbow. Own it, love. You're the architect. The podium gleamed under spotlights. Microphone feedback a brief screech before Elias's voice cut clear. We gather not to mourn a legacy lost, but to launch one reborn. From pipelines of prejudice to pathways of pride, Hawthorne rises anew. Applause swelled, Vivian clapping from Lila's hip, her toddler glee infectious. Miles nodded from the wings, Ray at his side, their presence a quiet triumph. Post-speech, mingling blurred into toasts, champagne flutes clinking with tales of transformation. A donor, gray-suited, cornered Elias. Your father's vision, bold but flawed. This, inspired. Flawed. The word lingered as Elias slipped to the balcony, Ohio River glittering below. Theo found him there, 2 glasses in hand. Escaping glory? Processing. Elias sipped, the bubbles sharp. Reg's journal. It's like he was 2 men. Theo leaned on the rail. Aren't we all? The boy who hid, the man who loved. His fingers traced Elias's necklace. You chose integration. That's the win. Lila joined, baby monitor clipped to her dress. Crowds buzzing. Foundations oversubscribed. Queer youth centers, elder arts grants. Elias hugged her. Your lead. Ours. She winked, then sobered. Ray mentioned a cousin, overseas, disowned for trans identity. Webb's infinite. The night wound down in dances. Miles twirling Vivian, Beckett and Jordan stealing kisses. Elias and Theo last waltz, bodies sinking like old habit. Happily ever. Theo murmured. After ever. Kiss sealed it. Spring unfurled with momentum. Theo's mural commission for a Chicago shelter, Elias guest lecturing at Northwestern. Queer narratives in corporate shadows. Students hungry, questions piercing. How'd you forgive? Didn't, Elias admitted. Understood. Big diff. Personal petals. Adoption paperwork submitted. Home study aced. Dad, Eli. Theo teased, painting nursery neutrals. Or Papa? Both. Elias grinned, but vulnerability nipped. Fears of repeating cycles. Miles visited, canvases in tow. Family portraits, fractured then whole. Reg's eyes in you, all of you. Summer solstice. Wedding vow renewal for Lila, Lakeside Redux. Elias officiated, words weaving Vivian's lullaby lyrics. Vows exchanged, rings glinting, Vivian flower girl in chaos. But ripple, anonymous thread. Email to the foundation. Dig deeper, Hawthorne's fall. Klein echo. Feds dismissed, but paranoia prickled. Theo's insomnia returned, sketches frantic. Old ghosts, he confessed. Atlanta scars, lost a friend to hate. Elias held him through nights. Dawn promises, we're armored now. Fall harvest, adoption match, a boy, 5, foster system weary. Wants a dog, social worker said. Homecoming, little Jamie, wide-eyed at the L-view. Uncle T, he asked, pointing Theo's locks. Theo melted. That's me. Parenting raw, tantrums, triumphs. Theo's bedtime stories, improvising jazz riffs. Elias's memoir sequel drafted, roots remade, Jamie's doodles as illustrations. Holiday whirlwind. Santa Fe for Miles's exhibit, Twin Flames, Reg and Vivian evoked in oils. Sold pieces funded Ray's ranch expansions. Trans Haven. Chicago Christmas. Tree trimmed with hawthorn oddments. Oil cap ornaments. Jazz sheet music garland. Jamie's Awe Magic. New Year. Family Zoom. Global hawthorns toasting. To branches boundless. But Winter Whisper. Jamie's Night Terrors. Foster echoes. Bad men, he whimpered. Therapy family style. Play sessions unpacking. Elias shared his disownment, age-appropriately. Uncle fought back. With love. Jamie hugged tight. Love wins. Spring Renewal. Foundation's first youth camp. Queer kids. Art and activism. Elias and Theo mentors. Jamie Big Bro to a shy arrival. Twist. Lost cousin surfaces. Trans woman from London. Reg's niece via a forgotten aunt. Saw the book. Felt seen. Reunion in Chicago. Tea at the Art Institute. Stories sinking. Disowned for confusion, she shared. Now, CEO of my chaos. Elias's heart swelled. Join the web. Summer Peak. Family cruise. Ohio River paddleboat. Vivian's jazz band aboard. Miles on deck. Guitar strumming. Ray line dancing with Jordan. Lila and spouse slow dancing. Vivian and Jamie chasing bubbles. Elias and Theo on the bow, wind whipping. This, us, them, it's the truth Dad couldn't. Theo's head on shoulder. We made it. Fall crescendo, sequel launch, Jamie unveiling a drawing. Family tree, roots rainbow. Critics, tender triumph. Hawthorne's heart beats on. Threats source traced. Jealous ex-board member, ousted. Apology letter, donation amends. Winter warmth. Jamie's adoption final, court joy. Family forever, judge pronounced. Elias's vow to Theo, Jamie asleep between. From cut to core, loves the legacy. Theo's kiss, destroyed? Never. Ignited.